nothing but the dog in me. Why must I chase the cat?
Good evening and welcome to Pound Posse Presents. Zach, was that you like jamming in there? Wow, very nice. It's contagious. I love my little intro, and I say it all the time. And tonight Zach was in there singing, which was pretty cool. He's in there all by himself tonight. We don't have Mike, so now Zach has to do some work. And it's probably feels a little strange, doesn't it? Bark? But I imagine that, wait, was it last week he wasn't here either? Yeah, so, I don't know. Are we losing our little fledgling, or is he just really busy?
I guess he has a life outside of us. That's upsetting.
Yeah, I know. Zach, again, I don't know if you can hear what Zach is saying, but he says, I guess he has a life outside of us, and that's upsetting. But, everybody has a life except for Zach, because I don't allow him to unless, it's a really, really big deal for him. And then we try to accommodate his one moment of having a life. I, on the other hand, have absolutely zero life and, end up here every Saturday night. But that's not a bad thing because, I like to feel that I'm doing something to help the animals and something and so on. And as long as I can feel a little bit like I'm helping, then I'm okay with it. Although I won't lie, and those nights where I do have off for whatever reason, it's kind of nice too. Sometimes it's not as easy as other times to even put together a show. There are so many things that I see that I want to share, and there are so many animals that need help, and it gets a little overwhelming sometimes. I don't want to say, there are some things that I won't touch and some places that I won't go. But there are definitely days where I sit down in front of the computer because that's where I get the stuff. As people are sharing and posting dogs, I'm trying to pick and choose, what I think, who grabs me and who needs the help. And some days I sit down in front of the computer and absolutely nothing grabs me, and that's sad because they all need help, but it frustrates me. I know I also need to get a lot better about getting guests again, but I've talked about that before. Sometimes that's not as easy as you would think either, because people are like, oh yeah, I'll come on the show, and then you practically have to put out a missing persons report on them when it comes down to actually getting them here. And once you find them or once you get a response, it's, oh yeah, no, I can't. So don't tell me you can if you can't, and don't tell me you will if you won't. And it kind of makes me shy away from even asking people sometimes, because I never know where I'm going to get jerked around or not. So anyway, that's all my own problem, and I'm just rambling at this point, which, I am so good at doing. Bark. Zach's in there laughing at me. Maybe. Yeah, he's not laughing with me. He's laughing at me, and I know he is. Anyway, when Mike is here, I should have you come out here and sit with me, because, then we'd have, like, the audience could hear your input, and yeah, he's laughing even harder. All right, so there was a little bit of a glitch with some of the files that I tried to load, because I load my pictures onto a flash drive, and it's got to go through the equipment in the control room, and if I pick a file that's not compatible, even though it looks like it's on the flash drive, it doesn't translate into the equipment in the control room. So I've had that happen to me before, and I had it happen to me hard today, even though I thought I was, saving it to the proper type of file. It didn't work. So I'm going to talk about dogs that I don't have pictures for, which makes it a little difficult. And then there's one picture that I forgot entirely to download. So that's happened before too. And as I said, I was like in frustrated mode. So apparently, I should not be trying to put together a show when I'm frustrated. That's the end result. Anyway, so the dogs that I don't have the pictures of, and of course there are 12 of them, why wouldn't there be, are all dogs that are at the Waterbury Pound. Now, the Waterbury Pound is definitely a place that people should pay a lot of attention to as far as the dogs that are available for adoption. They have 12 right now that, if you go to the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page, I have shared, and you can see the beautiful faces of these poor dogs who are, just sitting there waiting for homes like every other shelter. But, a dog is urgent in Waterbury from the moment it enters the shelter, because it is not a no-kill facility. And what that means is that if a dog sits there for too long, or if the shelter gets full, these dogs are all at risk. And I have seen many be put down at a time to make room. And that's just the worst ending that anybody could ever imagine. So, it's not always the pit bull types, although the 12 that I don't have the pictures of were all, pretty much pit bull type mixes. And I understand that that's not the type of dog everybody might be looking for, but it's not always all big dogs, and it's not always bully breeds. They have sometimes dogs that you would never imagine, just like any other shelter. But unfortunately, because of where we are, Waterbury does have a lot of the pit bull types. People who say that there are no purebreds and, there's no this and there's no that, you really have to look. You have to exercise a little patience, and you really have to go down and look at the shelters, because unfortunately, Waterbury is not very good at promoting the dogs the way they might. And so, dogs come and go without the public ever really getting an eye on them on social media and on Pet Finder. So it bears to keep in mind that go down to the shelter, whether it's Waterbury, whether it's any other shelter, and actually look and see what they have, who they have, because sometimes there's the cute little dogs, and sometimes there's, any spectrum of an animal that you might be looking for. And if you don't go, you won't know. You're cheating yourself out of finding the perfect companion if you don't actually go down to the shelters. If you call any shelter, if you call, you're going to get the answer that probably somebody wants to give you in a lot of cases. When you're looking for a particular type of dog, it's very subjective. What you consider to be one thing might be what somebody considers to be something else. So, it happens all the time. Go down to your shelters and look. So anyway, back to the Waterbury dogs. They have 40 kennels. If there's 12 dogs that are being circulated for adoption, who knows how many other kennels are full, and these dogs just haven't made it out there. So, go down there. If you're a rescue, if you have a rescue connection, maybe you can get someone to go and pull a dog. If you can foster, obviously, please connect with a rescue and, see if you can get the rescue to pull a dog that you can take and make safe and be the gateway to its forever life. If you go down to Waterbury, you can look at the dogs. They have certain adoption hours. They're at 200 Municipal Road here in Waterbury, and the phone number is 203-574-6909. That's 203-574-6909. And I have to give props to the Facebook page Shelter Connecticut for compiling the 12 dogs pictures and like little blurbs. At least, you know, they've got the impound number and, you know, male, female. There's a lot of sweet faces that, you know, I've obviously got serious lust for adopting another dog because, you know, so many of these faces are appealing to me. And until I've mentioned that I have a house guest, until my house guest is gone, I cannot move forward. It's just not the right time. But, you know, of course, now is going to be the time when I see all these faces that, you know, I just want to like go and smush and make my own. So anyway, yes, 203-574-6909, 200 Municipal Road. Please go down and, you know, see what you can do to help get some of those dogs out alive. It'd be a beautiful thing, and I know the dogs would appreciate it. So moving on to the pictures that I do have, we have Zeus. Yeah, now Zach has to pay attention. It's really tough, isn't it? Yeah, I know. He's been drowning me out for the past 12 minutes. So Zeus is about 8 years old, and he has been at the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter for about a year and a half. He was an owner surrender after living in the same home his whole life. He did spend most of his time outside, apparently, poor guy, but he is house trained and crate trained, and he knows a number of commands. He's calm and friendly with people. He loves to play, and he is actually said to like other animals. Zeus will definitely need someone with experience, whether it's a rescue who can pull him or an adopter who has, you know, breed experience. The shelter volunteers are absolutely crazy about this guy, and they dote on him. But unfortunately, Zeus is still having a very hard time with shelter life just the same. And, you know, not every dog is cut out to last long term in a shelter. He's used to a different kind of a life, and he is going to need a little TLC to get used to, you know, real indoor living. So anyway, if you are interested in Zeus, and how could you not be? Look at him, he's beautiful. He can be adopted from the Town of Hempstead Animal Shelter. You can call 516-785-5220. Once again, that's 516-785-5220. Next up, we have Otis. Look at this beautiful face. He reminds me of any number of dogs that I have seen and promoted over the years. He particularly reminds me of a dog named Chili from when I first started doing the show, with his markings and his ears like that. But anyway, Otis is about 3 years old. He has had no reaction to other dogs or cats. He seems like he'd be able to fit into most family situations. You know, if you've got a dog that's not reactive to other animals, that's a beautiful thing. And of course, I would always suggest a meet and greet. You know, don't just bring especially a big dog home and throw him into a situation where you're going to set him up to fail. But Otis is at Bridgeport Animal Control, and the number, if you're interested, is 203-576-7727. Once again, that's 203-576-7727. Next up, we have Gigi. Look at this beautiful girl. She's been waiting since at least October. She loves kids. She also is not reactive to dogs or cats. She's said to be very sweet. And look at her beautiful markings. She's got little splotches of color around her head. She looks like just such a sweetheart. She's got that beautiful pitty smile. You know, it just makes you want to smooch her up. And, you know, she's been waiting for a little bit. And Bridgeport is another very busy, very hectic shelter. Can't imagine that she hasn't been scooped up, because she seems, once again, like a go anywhere, fit into any kind of family kind of dog. So Gigi is also at Bridgeport Animal Control, And the number again is 203-576-7727. Now, we're going to leave Gigi up, but the dog that I didn't get a picture of is Sarge. I think I just actually skipped right over him. But he is 2 years old, super sweet, doesn't mind dogs or cats. He's very handsome. He's got the softest face. And these dogs I've all shared on the Pound Posse Presents Facebook page. So you can go there and look for Sarge, or you can go right to the Bridgeport Animal Control Facebook page and look him up. He's just a gorgeous boy. And, you know, now I'm kicking myself because I messed up and didn't load his picture. So next up we have Rain. And I just can't, I want to kiss her little face. She's got just the smushiest little wrinkly, smiley, I love her. See, this is bad because I'm having like pity lust. It's terrible. I want to take them all home and I really have to control myself. Rain is about 2 years old. There was no real information posted with her picture, but oh my God, that face. I can only imagine that she's a sweetheart. And, you know, this is one of those things where I'll say, if you can connect with a shelter and help them get to know a little more about the dogs, that's so worth it to try to help promote them and, you know, find them their perfect fit. Because, you know, with little or no information, and Bridgeport does try, but, you know, there's a lot of shelters where you really don't get that volunteer interaction or rescues that go in there. And so it's hard to know what the personality of a dog is like, which makes it that much harder to place them. But anyway, no real information on Rain, but she is at the Bridgeport Animal Shelter. And the number there is, one last time, 203-576-7727, 203-576-7727. Now, I'll take the camera back for a moment. And one of the stories that's been on Facebook this week and all over the news is really a sad one. It hits really close to home. With my connections to Sweet Pea. There was a terrible fire at All Breeds Rescue and Adoption in Daleville, Alabama. The place was basically burnt to the ground, which is horrifying. Apparently, this was the kind of situation where the founder of the shelter had her home and the shelter, you know, all together, and the fire just devastated the entire thing. Jane Clancy is the woman's name, and Zach, you can scroll, well, put up the picture, the first picture. Yeah, that's basically what's left, and that's just heartbreaking. Whoever took that picture with the ball in the front, that's powerful. That's very powerful. But that's pretty much all that's left of something that, you know, Jane Clancy poured her entire heart and her soul and her life into. Let's get the picture of her up. Oh, okay, yeah, this is the I guess the entrance. People are leaving memorials and flowers, and very touching in and of itself. Yeah, that's okay. You're good. This is Jane herself. Initially, she made it out. She realized, I guess, the scope of what was going on, and that the animals were in the thick of it. And she went back into the building, trying to get out as many as she could. I guess she broke a window, and she was, you know, getting those animals out. And I can't imagine, you know, she's not a young woman, and she kept it together, and she, you know, like I said, broke a window. She was getting them out of the building. Eventually, unfortunately, the roof collapsed and it killed her and the rest of the animals. So she really died doing what she did with all of her heart and soul, and that was she was saving lives. Apparently, 47 dogs and 1 cat survived the fire. And I guess it was, I saw one report that 13 dogs and 1 cat were what she was able to get out of there before that roof collapsed. And it's really sad. It's tragic. This woman died a hero, and you know, for all of the people who like to have hero worship, for people who, in my opinion, I would say don't deserve it, and that's just another whole aspect of rescue is, you know, the hero, the hero complex that a lot of people have. This woman was truly a hero. I don't know too many people who would go back into a burning building. I mean, I know animal people would, but this woman did, and she kept her wits about her, and she got all these animals out, and it's horrifying that she died in that manner. But the remaining animals have been placed with other rescues. All breeds is listed as being permanently closed, but updates are still available on their Facebook page, All Breeds Rescue and Adoption. The biggest thing that they're hoping for now is for help with the surviving animals. You know, some of them have various medical conditions related to the fire and not related to the fire, I'll assume. So if you go to the Facebook page, you'll be able to get updates. I guess there is a volunteer still trying to keep things going as far as, you know, keeping people connected to how the animals are doing and where they are, and, you know, trying to still help them get adopted. And again, there's, you know, calls for help for some of the animals that survived and really need it. But, you know, I haven't seen where they talked about how many were lost, but I can't imagine. I don't know that anybody really wants to know that. But props to Jane Clancy, and, you know, heaven gained another angel, and may she rest in peace. She did an amazing thing, and, you know, if you read the Facebook page and some of the comments, it sounds like she was an absolutely wonderful woman. So again, rest in peace. And you know, if everybody wants to check out the page, like I said, you'll see just what a loss it really was. I'll take the camera back for a moment. And, you know, in other sad news, Pound Posse Presents lost a personal friend this week. Some of you know, some of you don't know. I used to work in a store, and, you know, when you work with the public, you get a lot of jerks, but you certainly get the type of people that, you know, just light up your life. And when I worked in the store, there was a couple of guys who used to come in, and we struck up a friendship, initially based on, you know, animal stuff. You know, I told them about my show, and they have a farm, which is really cool. They were definitely a bright spot in my day every time they came in. Their laughter was infectious. The humor was inappropriate, and, you know, it was, Zach's in there laughing because he knows. You know, I just love these guys. Scott Buxton and Kevin Roberts are their names. If we can get up the picture of K&S Halfway Farm was their farm, and they would do, can we get the whole picture up? Yeah, but like over me? Duh! Yeah, well, let's look at the right screen and get the right picture up. So yeah, they had this awesome farm, you know, with miniature horses and mini ponies and goats and stuff. And they're very active in the community, did all kinds of wonderful things for people. They halfway farm, part of it was, you know, kids who needed to get their heads straight could go there and work and, you know, better their lives, et cetera, et cetera. Of late, I'd see, you know, hadn't seen them in quite a while. Their route, they're actually truck drivers. They own a trucking company as well. And they used to come through the store, like I said. I actually tried to talk them into coming on the show, but unfortunately, you know, they are all the way up in Maine, and when they were on the road, they needed to be home for the farm, so we had to put that aside. But I so looked forward to them coming in and visiting, and their route changed. I left the store, but we stayed on Facebook, and I got to follow along. And unfortunately, Kevin was very sick, and he was fighting. Get the picture of Kevin up for me, please. He was fighting very hard to win his health battle, and I was devastated to see on Facebook on, well, yesterday morning, that Kevin passed away. So all I have to say is he was a great guy, and his laughter will be missed, and my heart goes out to Scott, because I know that they were so all about their life together. And so it's very hard to lose somebody who was so much fun. And, you know, on social media, you get to keep in touch. It's not the same as being, not the same as getting to see each other all the time. But anyway, Kevin, rest in peace. We'll miss you. And I guess now it's probably time, because I see Nate in the room. So we'll leave it at that. And I'll say peace, love, and dogs. Until next time, thank you for watching.